Ford Field family, you can almost feel it in the air tonight, that heavy, uneasy hum before something big hits. This is Lions News Fan Report, and if you bleed Honolulu blue and silver like I do, hit that like button right now. Because what? We're about to dive into could change the shape of our preseason, and maybe, just maybe, force Brad Holmes to make a move that tips the NFC North balance in our favor. 3 key names, 3 pieces of our 2024 puzzle, walked off the field last night in Allen Park. And while no one's throwing in the towel yet, the ripple effect is already making its way through the roster. Could this be the moment where opportunity meets urgency? Dominic Lovett, the rookie wideout who turned heads in the preseason opener with more snaps than anyone else on offense, suddenly vanished from practice after one-on-one drills with what's being called an abdominal injury. A small detail? Maybe. But when you're talking about a 7th rounder trying to make a statement and carve out a role in special teams and the passing game, every lost rep is a step backward. And with Atlanta looming, you can't help but wonder if we'll see him again before September. Then there's Pat O'Connor, a defensive lineman who knows the trenches are where our battles are won. One kickoff drill, a tangle of bodies, and suddenly he's limping off, clutching his leg. No theatrics, just the grim reality of how quickly depth in the defensive front can evaporate. And as if that wasn't enough, our first-team left tackle spot, already a revolving door with Decker rehabbing and skipper sideline, saw Jamarco Jones go down after getting rolled up on. In steps Giovanni Manu, and you can almost hear the collective gasp from the offensive line room. 3 injuries in 1 practice. 3 questions that could force this coaching staff to rip up the depth chart and start reimagining roles on the fly. And here's where the speculation starts to churn, because when you mix injuries and key spots with a front office that's been lurking in the trade and free agent markets before, you start thinking about whether Holmes is eyeing someone out there who can step in right now and not just hold the line, but make an impact. What if the missing puzzle piece isn't on the roster yet? What if this is the opening for Detroit to swing at a name that could steady the offense, shore up the line, or even push our pass rush into overdrive? Every year there's that one moment in camp where reality forces your hand, and this could be it. The question is, does Holmes pull the trigger and give this team the reinforcement it needs to not just survive August, but enter week 1 with a statement? Because if the whispers I've been hearing have any truth to them, the move could be bigger, bolder, and more aggressive than anyone's expecting. The kind of move that turns a training camp setback into the first step of a season-defining surge. So now I have to ask you, if the piece we've been missing just hit the market, are we ready to grab it before someone else does? Shatter the silence, Detroit. This moment isn't just about injuries. It's the thunderclap that rips through the marrow of our franchise, rattling the walls of Ford Field and reverberating against the cold, unyielding steel of our history. We've been here before, staring into the abyss, feeling that icy grip of despair clamp down our hearts. Remember 0 to 16, when despair wasn't a stranger but our only companion, when Sundays were a cruel reminder of what we weren't. Remember Dan Orlovsky sprinting through chaos, out of bounds and out of options, still playing with a kind of reckless courage that told the world Detroit might be broken, but it was never going to be beaten? Remember the sting of Calvin Johnson walking away in his prime, leaving us staring at an empty horizon where greatness should have been. Just like Barry Sanders before him, a ghost in our minds every time we saw open field and thought about what could have been. That's the weight we carry into every season, into every snap, into every heartbeat of the city's football soul. And now, with Dominic Lovett clutching his side like he's holding on to the last piece of hope we've got, with Pat O'Connor and Jamarco Jones riding in pain on the turf, each moment feels like another crack in the armor we spent years reforging. Every injury isn't just a name on a report. It's a gut punch, a dent in the machine we believe was finally built to run through January. The whispers in the locker room are starting to sound like warning sirens, commands slipping through fingers, plans unraveling before they ever hit the field. Coaches are scrambling, trying to rework what little remains of a once promising blueprint, an offense designed to dance with Dillon and Gibbs. Now left with question marks and the uneasy stare of Jared Goff into a fog of uncertainty. The NFC North isn't waiting for us to catch our breath. The Vikings are sharpening their blades. The Packers are rebuilding quietly but dangerously. And the Bears are storming into this season with the kind of chaos and momentum that used to define Detroit, shaking the very ground we were supposed to own. And here we are, patching holes in a ship that was meant to sail toward a championship, bleeding out while the seas get rougher by the hour. The front office's phones are lighting up, whispers of trades, late-night calls for reinforcements. Desperate chess moves where the wrong piece taken means checkmate in weeks, not months. Every snap now feels heavier. Every sideline exchange could be the last clean breath before another blow knocks the wind from our season. Last year's playoff push, the grit, the moments that made us believe again, they hang over this team like a fragile crown that could slip and shatter into dust. Injuries don't just take bodies. They steal rhythm, they steal identity, and they test the soul of a locker room like nothing else. This city knows that test all too well. It's in our blood, in the scars that don't fade, in the way every Detroit fan carries the memory of heartbreaks like they're stitched into our DNA. We've watched legends fall and still found ways to stand. We've buried seasons before they even began, only to claw back with the kind of ferocity that makes the rest of the league squirm. That's who we are, and that's who we have to be again. Because this isn't just about healing bodies. It's about rallying hearts. It's about the veterans taking the young guys by the face mask and saying, "Not here. Not now." It's about turning every setback into kindling for a fire so bright it blinds the doubt in every rival's eyes. Ford Field has seen nights where it felt like the whole city's heartbeat was pounding in unison, shaking the walls with belief. That's the energy we have to summon now. Before the cracks become collapsed out, can this injured roster summon the same unity that lifted us last year, the unity that turned adversity into advantage? Or is fate sharpening its blade for yet another bitter chapter in Detroit's saga of resilience? One where the fight burns until the last second, but the ending still tastes like ash. The question isn't just who's hurt today. It's who's willing to step into the fire, to bleed for the crest on their helmet, to take the field knowing every snap could be the one that saves or sinks our season. Because if the fallout claims one more warrior, if the sideline cart rolls one more player into the tunnel, the very foundation of this team will tremble. And when the dust clears, the next voice to rise from the wreckage, will it be the roar of hope echoing across the Motor City? Or will it be the whisper of despair, finally claiming the last unbroken piece of us?